first and foremost, we want to give all glory, honor, and praise to the Most High God, whose name is Yahweh, right? We do so in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shah. Who are we? We're the children of the light, right? And it's destined for destruction of society. I mean, here in America, right? And we're the Sakari Philly set. We're here to wake up the lost sheep. That's what we've been charged to do, right? And uplift the Heavenly Father, right? I mean, and what we plan on doing today is we plan on coming out and breaking down how they done took our culture, right? Or from our culture in modern time, you know, you seeing the chinks wearing Jordans and sagging their pants, even our culture in ignorance, but you know, even made trillions of dollars off of it, right? Underneath our very nose, and got us cheering for these characters that we are actually that we actually are, right? And in particular, we're going to talk about Dragon Ball Z today and how that the Saiyans are actually Israelites. Right. This is not a far-fetched concept or you know, a far-fetched hypothesis that we came up with. It's not far-fetched because when you actually look at through media and you look at through other forms of entertainment, how they actually use our culture, right? Even outside of Dragon Ball Z. Matter of fact, let's talk about some of the cultures that they some of the things that they use of ours that made millions of dollars. Like one of these people in particular, Stan Lee, right? Right. In particular, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, they created one, you know, came up with the characters, and Kirby was the artist for creating the X-Men. The X-Men that were actually released during the 1960s. Now, people love these comic books. They love the characters. They love the movies today. But what were they actually built upon, though? Let's go on to this. Read the top of that article where you getting it from.
This is history.com. How Stan Lee's X-Men were inspired by real life civil rights heroes.
And it says when they was inspired meaning that this is where they got the complete idea from. Just swipe right, right. Yeah, so this is where they got the complete idea from. I mean, like they didn't just sit around and just come up with off their head. They was watching the society of that time. Right, get John chapter 10 real quick. I mean, they was watching the society at that time and end up coming up with, you know, one of the greatest cartoons that ever existed. Like I grew up actually watching X-Men, right? And it's crazy because these people that I was watching were actually me. We were the mutants, right? And you're gonna hear Stan Lee actually say it out of his own mouth. Read it from the top.
I love that idea, Lee told the Guardian.
And Lee is referring to Stan Lee.
Told the Guardian in 2000 as the first X-Men movies hit theaters. It not only made them different, but it was a good metaphor for what was happening in civil rights.
And he said it didn't just make them different. He said he liked the metaphor to be used. What metaphor? Of how it was a people of low class of trying to come up against mainstream society, right? Of low class, but they had special abilities, type of abilities that ordinary people couldn't do. Right. Like they could run faster. They was stronger than the average man. They can be able to jump higher, right? He said he liked the idea of using this as a series. Like this is a snake, right? Come on.
With the civil rights movement in the country at the time, that metaphor extended to the characters themselves with Professor X and his vision of...
Hold on, it extended as who?
To the characters themselves with Professor X.
Professor X is the leader of the X-Men, right? He's the founder of the X-Men, come on.
And his vision for harmonious human-mutant coexistence.
Harmonious human and mutant coexistence. What did this sound like? Come on.
Standing in for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Standing in for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He based Charles Xavier from Martin Luther King Jr., right? Because what did Martin Luther King Jr. want to do? He wanted to coexist, right, so-called the Negroes and the people with what? With white society. And let me just clarify this real quick, because throughout this video, you may hear a lot of terms like used as Negroes, blacks, and stuff like that. But this is why this video is going to be more than likely entitled the Israelites, Saiyans Are Israelites. Why? Because if you actually watch other videos, you will know that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are Israelites, right? So they're actually Negroes too, right? And we know this. This is why we hang out with them in the community. But when y'all hear, just black and Negro, you may just try to think that hold up, he's just talking about black people, but it's actually talking about Hispanics too, because wow, we are all in this together. So I mean, it's Israelites. Blacks and Hispanics and Native Americans are Israelites. But read that from where it say Professor X.
With Professor X and his vision of harmonious human-mutant coexistence standing in for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
And he based Professor X off of Dr. King Jr., right? Come on.
While Magneto's rigid attitude towards the defense of mutant kind reflected the philosophy of Malcolm X.
Magneto, right, the leader of the Brotherhood, right? You hear what Magneto called his group? He called it the Brotherhood.
Right.
Now what did Malcolm X try to do? He tried to uplift Brotherhood to try to go against society, because what did Malcolm X was saying? We're greater than them, so why should we be counted as equal as them? Now what did Magneto say? We are greater than them. Don't you see the powers that we got? Like, why should we try to coexist with people that we're better than? Right? He literally based characters off of our struggle, right? And actually, you can go through the list of all of these particular characters, though. But we're not. This ain't particularly the video to do it. It may be another video to do that, but particularly we're going into Dragon Ball Z. But we just want to prove that actually, a lot, if not most of these cartoons and entertainments is based upon our history, right? Come on.
The Sentinel, a brand of massive...
Hold up, the what?
The Sentinels.
Come on.
A brand of massive mutant hunting robots.
The Sentinels are a brand of massive mutant. The mutants are what? The mutants are Israelites. So they're a band of hunting Israelites, or what they will call mutants. So who would these Sentinels be based upon, right? Come on.
Were introduced 2 years later as readers watched on TV as black Americans were beaten and abused by white police officers.
So the Sentinels, who was made by the government, were actually officers who are actually pushed out by the government. Like, you really can't make this stuff up. Okay. Like, this is being said out of their own mouth, right? They actually took our stuff and made trillions off it. So read what you got, 10 and 10.
This is the book of John chapter 10 verse 10. The thief cometh not.
The who?
The thief cometh not.
All y'all so-called white people is damn thieves. And the Lord then called y'all a number, right? Right, read it again.
The thief cometh not but for to steal.
But to do what?
To steal.
And that's what they did. They stole and they robbed. They stole and robbed the Native Americans, right? And they stole and robbed us. They the so-called black man, right? They stole and robbed us of our heritage, of our culture, right? And then they capitalized on it. Not just going around calling themselves us, right? The so-called Jewish people, like they call themselves us, but then they go around and they make money, trillions off of our heritage. Come on.
And to kill and to destroy.
And that's their main goal. Their main goal is to destroy us, because now since we destroyed, we don't know who we are. So now not only can they claim to be who we are, but we're so destroyed, they can actually create entertainment based upon our struggle, right? This was in the 1960s, right? Then you look at this, so-called Superman, right? Superman is one of the greatest superheroes that ever existed, right? But when you actually look at him, it's obvious to see that he's based upon an Israelite, right? His existence was based on what? Coming to a whole nother world, right? He left the Kryptonian world and he came to planet Earth, right? He left one world and came to another world. Now we've seen this before, right, in history, right, and all throughout histories, but one in particular being Moses, right? He left one world or one society, the Israelite society. He left one culture, and he went and raised by Egyptians, right? They took the same concept of being wrapped in a basket, right? I mean, being or put in a little spaceship and being sent to another society.
On the ocean of stars.
Yeah, on the ocean of stars, through the water, through the sea. But then it goes into what? How does he get his superpowers? He get his superpowers through the sun. And we know that white people, y'all don't get no power from the sun.
Right.
Y'all be dying in the sun. Like y'all are the most leading people in society that's dying through the sun, right? Through skin cancer, right? Yeah, I mean, and matter of fact, going to that, cause Superman get his power from the sun. So what's this? Read this real quick. Yeah, I mean, because what happens in the sun? Like, what do you get from sun rays, right? Read this top part. Is that it? Yeah.
An estimated 1 billion people worldwide across all ethnicities and age groups have vitamin D deficiency.
Have vitamin D deficiency, but do this count as black people? Come on, read this bottom part.
People with naturally dark skin tone have natural sun protection and require at least 3 to 5 times more. No, that's it.
Oh no, read this part.
How do we get vitamin D?
How do we get vitamin D? And what's vitamin D? Vitamin D is what you get from the sun rays, but the brother get ready to go into it, and it actually strengthens your bones. This is why the best boxers in the world is so-called blacks and Hispanics, right? Because we hit the hardest, because our bones is just heavier. I mean, like it's just got more density than these other races. So read that.
Our body creates vitamin D from direct sunlight on our skin when we're outdoors. From about late March, early April to the end of September, most people should be able to get all the vitamin D we need from sunlight.
And that's the whole thing. Superman gets so-called vitamin D, and this is how his skin is able to be made into steel, or have bones made into steel. This is based upon us, right? This is not a hard concept to believe, right? To even go into. Now let's go into Dragon Ball Z real quick, though, bro. Get Joel 2 in chapter 2, verse 28. Now the Goku's dad, Bardock's, Goku's dad Bardock's, actually, when you go into it, the movie of Bardock's, he actually was given visions to be able to see the destruction of his own people. He was able to see, he became a prophet. There's no other way to go around to it. Right. I mean, like, he was given visions and seeing himself in a particular situation, but then he woke up from the vision and he seen that it didn't happen. It didn't happen yet. Which you will see later on in the movie, it actually did occur. But the brother, he is a brother because the Saiyans are Israelites. But Bardock's end up being a prophet, and that was Goku's dad, right? And he was prophesying about the downfall of his people, right? Read Joel chapter 2, verse 28.
This is the book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 28. And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh. Mm-hmm. And your sons and your daughters shall prophesy.
And your sons and daughters shall prophesy. And that's what we're doing. We're doing this right now. Right? I mean, like, we doing it when we go to the highways and byways. Right? Now, like, and y'all can't tell us that the Israelites don't got the truth. Y'all can't tell us that. Because we're able to go into this Bible and break it down. We're able to go through secular history and break it down. And through the Spirit of the Lord, we're able to go into the animated world and break it down, right? Y'all can't tell us that the Lord ain't dealing with Israelites. Y'all can't tell us that.
And so, too, when Bardock got the visions, he didn't just sit still with the visions. Still went to other Saiyans to tell him what the white man Frieza was going to do.
But what happened when he was telling them?
They didn't believe him.
With blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, man, they got a hard problem believing us when we tell them what's to come, man.
Matter of fact, get that real quick. Get Acts 7 and 51, because our people is hard headed, man. They hard headed and they stiff necked. I mean, like, the brother had a nice point though. Like, I mean, like, because he got the visions and then he went and told his people about the visions, and his people didn't want to listen, right? So let's look at Stephen. Because Stephen was given visions, Stephen was given a greater understanding, and his people rejected him, right? So read what you got.
This is the book of Acts, chapter 7, verse 51. Ye stiff-necked and uncircumcised in heart and ears.
And y'all stiff-necked, blacks and Hispanics, right? That we go out to the highways and byways to teach. Y'all stiff-necked and y'all rebellious, right? Just the same way what Bardock was telling the saints. Y'all stiff necked. Because if they would have listened, they could have band together and maybe started going against Frieza.
Yeah.
But they just didn't want to believe that they can do it. And plus two, on the com, they actually liked it, Master.
Yeah.
I mean, they liked it, Master, and what he was able to do for them.
Right.
So come on.
Ye stiff-necked in heart and ears, you do always resist the Holy Ghost. As your fathers did, so do ye.
So do ye. So ye resist the Holy Spirit that we try to go and we try to anoint y'all with. We try to go and break these scriptures down to y'all, to the lowest common denominator. Like, we try to make it as plain and as easy as possible that can be. But our people is just so hard-headed, they just don't want to get it. What's the pink guy?
Dorian?
Yeah, Dorian.
The Dorian.
Oh, the Dorian. The Dorian. He was one of Frieza's henchmen. And when you go into it, he had quotes. Get Exodus real quick. Exodus 1:9. He had quotes. He said what? The Saiyans are quickly becoming the best fighters. Right? He said, hold up now. Like, now they're becoming strong. They're becoming some of the best fighters. Here go another quote that he said in the same Bardot's movie. It's what y'all might do in the future, right? This is what he was worried about. He's worried about what the Saiyans may do, because when he was hunting Bardot's, Goku dead, and when he was fighting him, because Bardot's was saying, hold up, but we serve Frieza. We do what Frieza asks, so why is you still going against us? Frieza wants y'all dead because he's worried about what y'all may be. So he want to hunt y'all down, right? And this happened before in the past, right? Read what you got, 1:9.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 1, verse 9. And he said unto the people, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we.
No, we're just the same strength.
Are more and mightier than we.
So we actually stronger than these other nations. And you see the parallel between what the Saiyans were going through and what the Israelites was going through, right? These other nations was worried about us becoming greater people, like being greater in numbers, because we was getting stronger. And actually, Saiyans do what? They get stronger as they fight. So they was worried about this. They was worried about us getting bigger in numbers, getting bigger amounts of children. They got worried about it. Read that 9 again.
And he said unto the people, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies. And
that's what these nations worry about. That we get stronger and mightier than them and overtake them or join to their enemies. And this is kind of what Frieza was worrying about, that we would get I just keep calling the Saiyans we, because in reality, like, we link to them. This is almost as if I'm a Super Saiyan, like, in a way. So it's like Frieza got mad at the Saiyans because he was worried that they could eventually get stronger than them. Not individually, he wasn't worried about that, but he was worried about them as a whole. Right? Come on.
And fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses.
And that's what they was doing. They put the Saiyans in the bondage. This is what they originally did, because they went and they could have destroyed the Saiyans just like how they was destroying other people, because that's what Frieza was doing. Actually, he destroyed other races, but he found something special about the Saiyans, and he wanted to use their strength. I mean, so then he set over them taskmasters. That was the Borean and the green guy, and he set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. Conquering other planets. That was their burden, because that was what Frieza wanted to do. So he made them do it. So that's what he set up to do.
And another thing too, like, because they said task over them, they couldn't focus on the proper enemy, which was Frieza. So
Exactly.
Frieza had them looking elsewhere, so they couldn't like focus on Frieza himself. Because that's what Esau do to us. He had us focus on each other or like other nations, and then we can't focus on a true enemy, which is
Misdirection.
Using trickery
Huh.
and misdirection. So, but Bardock's soldier, he had a quote too. Before when Bardock came there and he was seeing them dying. Freezer and his henchmen, Salakia, Freezer and his henchmen were called the Saiyans monkeys, right? Oh no, so Salakia, I'm skipping it. Freezer is scared of what you might become. This is what Bardock's soldiers said, right? He said Freezer is scared of what you might become. Like he was scared of the power that was in Bardock's. Bardock's in particular and his people in general, right? Get Deuteronomy 28 and 37, right? Because just like us today, we get called all these jigaboos, coons, wetbacks, right? You know,
monkeys.
Yeah, porch monkeys. We get called all of these slangs and disrespectful names by these other nations, and it's not just a coincidence that the Saiyans were called monkeys, just like how we were called monkeys when we was in America talking about something that we was swinging on trees in West Africa. When you actually can read books about it being built cities with walls of gold on it, right? From Babylon to Timbuktu. You can see it in multiple books. But read what you got.
You see the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword.
And thou shalt become an astonishment. We should become an amazement amongst these nations. A what?
Astonishment, a proverb, and a byword.
A proverb and a byword, meaning called wise sayings. This is what we would get called. We being the Israelites. And it's not just what like people like Cameron would say a Kawinky thing that the Saints were called this. The same exact names that that we were called, right? It's going to it. Matter of fact, get Jeremiah 17 and 4, because when you look at it, Goku came to the Earth, right? And Goku came to Earth, and again, it was the same exact way, right? He was sent, and they would say, "Oh no, we base this upon Superman." Well, Superman was based upon us, so I can use the same logic. Right? Goku was sent to Earth. He was sent from one society from the Saiyan society that he grew up on to what? To the human society. He was sent from Earth to sent from planet Vegeta to Earth, right? But then when he got to Earth, he was a kid. He was a little bad kid, but he had bumped and hit his head. Now, what happened through him hitting his head? He lost his identity. He lost his understanding of who he was. And this was actually prophesied to happen to the Israelites. Read verse 4.
This is the book of Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 4. And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not.
And well, to read from the top, thou.
And thou, even thyself, shall discontinue from thine heritage.
And we discontinue from our heritage. We see that. We see that in roots. We see that, all over. The average black and Hispanic man don't know who they are.
Right.
This is why they're going around putting pink and red all in their hair. Right? Wearing red, white, and blue. They don't know who they are. Like, why would you wear a flag of people who killed you?
Wearing honey mustard for hair.
Oh yeah, and putting spicy honey mustard on the hair, right? Talking about something, it made me look sexy. Well, I mean, so this is our people, though. I mean, so read from the top.
And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thy enemy in the land which thou knowest not.
And that's what happened. We lost our identity, so we served our enemy. And just like the same thing happened with Goku. He lost his identity and he didn't know who he was, right? So
and before that was happening, he was fighting the old head that was taking care of him too.
Oh yeah, because that wasn't his people.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and then all of a sudden when he bumped his head, what he do?
He started becoming peaceable
Right.
and all of that.
That was his pop. Like that's his.
He developed Stockholm syndrome.
Oh yeah.
Right.
He developed Stockholm syndrome after he bumped his head. He lost his head. But what did Vegeta do when he came?
He started killing people.
He started doing what he would naturally know how to do. And what was he calling Goku? He was calling Goku his actual name, Kakarot. I mean, it's well, yeah. Just like how we would have, from our slaves' name, and now a lot of us have Hebrew names now.
Right.
So like it's the same thing going on. And just like how we were saying in Roots, right? The brother Kuta Kente, he got his back beat until the bull wanted him to call him Toby. I mean, he kept whipping. He whipped his actual heritage out of him. Like he beat it out of him. I mean, and this is just not a coincidence that all this is transpiring like this. We're going to even looking at them turning into Super Saiyans, right? Because this is funny, really, when you look at it, them turning into Super Saiyans, because this was created by Asian people, right? So we know Asian people worship the beast. Yeah, I mean this horde called America, so-called white man. So yeah, I mean, what would they do? They would make us envy our oppressor. I mean, so they would make us think what the true form of beauty is blonde hair and green eyes.
Right. Oh, I got a point to that too. I was researching that too. Y'all remember how they said Yahushua's hair was white and woolly and his eyes was red as a flame of fire?
Right.
If you look up what the Super Saiyan description was supposed to be before it got turned into blonde and green, the hair was supposed to be white and the eye was supposed to be red.
I found pictures of that, bro.
Yeah, just like Yahusha. Yeah, I found that crazy, man.
Yeah, that's amazing.
You wanna know what's so crazy? I was researching different transformations and things like that. I found it on they had Dragon Ball Z F or something like that.
The alternate.
No, but the creator himself said that was the original design for Super Saiyan, and then he changed it up.
Right, that's crazy.
And it actually shows even too that even more that it's us by them changing it up. Right. Because why? Because they're showing us like this is y'all at y'all maximum. Like when you can actually bleach your hair. You know what I mean? When you can actually throw some contacts in. Like that's the best form of a so-called black or Hispanic man.
And if it's not true, why try to hide it? Right, like.
But that's what it said, that the thief cometh not, but for the steal, kill, and destroy. And as he's like, the reason why was because our people is going to him for knowledge, right? And instead of seeking the Lord, that's part of the problem. But even when you look at most of the Saiyans' hair is what?
Spiky.
They're spiky. They stand up naturally like a fro, which is funny because actually when you look up our hair, when you look it up, it actually says that it has not just melanin because of the color, but actually it's what? It stands up because it's alive, right? Like anything else, if it just drops down, it's dead. So technically, white people hair, when it grow out of their body and it just drops down out of their head, that's called dead hair. So like, why would you want to have dead hair? To actually have hair that actually stands up naturally means that it's alive. So you would want to be alive, just like you're alive. You would want your hair to be alive and stand up on ends. I mean, like, this is why they couldn't deny that, because that's why they kept the Super Saiyan hair standing up. They wanted it to be blind, but they couldn't just have his hair standing up, but then turn to Super Saiyan and have it drop down, because it just wouldn't seem like he was losing power than gaining power. But having your hair stand up seems more like he had power.
Exactly.
But even from Vegeta calling him a Saiyan, and Vegeta had another quote actually, like, read this real quick. I mean, because the whole thing is that we're better than any other nations, the so-called blacks and Hispanics, right? And you're gonna find this out through the scriptures, and you find this out through media, right?
Actually, this is a quote on Google. You can find it. Actually, in an episode, Vegeta made a statement that all Saiyan warriors age slower.
That all Saiyan warriors do what?
Age slower.
So all Saiyan warriors seem to age slower. That's who does that sound like, right? Come on.
In order to be able to fight for a longer time, they are genetically slower to age than humans.
They are genetically slower to age than humans.
Or half humans.
Or half humans, right? Talking about, but we don't believe in so-called mysteries. But this is what you got to realize too, is that, I mean, like, this is still a cartoon, so it's going to be reality mixed with fiction that they're going to slice in there. But the Lord got his servants up to give you the true and living water, and to give you, the meat. Brother Nakaman would say the lamb. Out of this, right? So it says that the Saiyans age slower. So who aged slower, right? Read that real quick.
It's official.
Where's the article from?
The Philadelphia Inquirer. It's official. Science has proven that black doesn't crack.
Science proved that black doesn't crack. Now, is this some imagination? Let's go into this article real quick.
Black people are not only born with denser bones in our faces, these bones also don't break down as quickly, especially the bone between the eyes and the cheekbone, as our Caucasian counterparts. Right? Esau, the so-called white man, he's breaking apart. This is why he aged faster, right? Because he's not made of, like Optimus Prime would say, and Transformers is black people too, but I ain't gonna go into that. But like Optimus Prime said to Megatron, he's not made of stern stuff. Like, like he's not made of pure living water. Right? Come on. The result, blackface maintained structural support for a longer period of time. So we have younger looking skin for longer.
This is why we have longer look younger, right? This is why you got brothers that be like 40 and look in their early 20s, right? You can't make this stuff up, right? Why do this? Why does the same type of effect that affects us, right? The sun and all this stuff, the same type of thing works with the Saiyans, like, right? Just read the top of the next, just this top sentence.
This is why black people look like themselves longer.
And this is why we look like ourselves longer. Meaning, like, if you would check out pictures of a brother being at 17, and then pictures of him being in his 30s, dang, like
that different.
Like, this is why a lot of sisters get told what when they see their daughter. And I thought y'all was sisters.
Yeah.
I mean, they see a sister with a daughter, be like, yo, like, I thought y'all was sisters. Because our people, we just generally age better than other races, right? And the Lord bless us with this, right? Because we are the Israelites.
Edomites 22-year-olds be looking like they 40, bro.
Right.
Seriously.
Right. Right. And then this why you have some Edomites, and not because I be working at the college. And I'll see some Edomites that be like 19, but they look like they're in their 30s. And they're freshmen. Got a bald spot in the back of their head.
Bro, I had so many classes with so-called young Edomites, bro. They were like 20 years old, had bald heads. I'm like, bro, hairlines non-existent. Bro. And
this ain't just because of them being Klans member why they skinning their head. They skinning their head because the Lord done cursed them. But let's go into this real quick. Get Acts 1:9. Get Revelation chapter 1, right? Because you got Goku. He was doing what? He was flying around, right, on a cloud like Nimbus. Now the whole thing about it is like, they see that, but we see it, being service of the Lord, and we see something spiritual. Right. We don't see, Six Flags Great Adventure. We see that, and we look at that, and we see something amazing. You got Acts. Read verse 9 real quick.
This is the book of Acts chapter 1 verse 9. And when he had spoken these things, what they beheld, he was taken up.
Who's the he? The he is Yahweh Shah, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Come on.
And a cloud received them.
And a cloud received him. Now, how did he get picked up? Did he get picked up by some airplane, or did Goku send him Nimbus? Read that part again.
And the cloud received them.
And the cloud received him. The clouds are the chariots of the Lord.
Right.
Right? And that was what Goku was flying on. But people was too ignorant to understand that Goku was actually flying around in the chariot of the Lord. Why? Because Goku was an Israelite. Right? Read it from the top again now.
And when he had spoken these things, what they beheld him.
And when he spoke to the disciples, and when they was just looking at him, come on.
He was taken up.
He was lifted up by what?
And the cloud received him out of their sight.
He was lifted up by the Spirit of Yahweh, and the cloud or the chariots of the Lord received him, right? Come on.
And while they looked steadfastly
and
toward the heavens.
And why the disciples looked steadfast up at the heavens? Because they was amazed. They didn't just see a cloud pick them up. They seen a so-called UFO. So the disciples looked up at amazement and what?
And he went up. Behold, two men stood by them in white apparel.
Mm-hmm. These is angels. Come on.
Which also said, Ye men of Galilee.
Come on.
Why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same Yahushua, which is taken up from you into heaven, shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven. So
the same way you seen him be lifted up, that's the same way he's going to come back. Right? Now read what you got, because this is the account of him coming back. Right? Verse 7.
This is the book of Revelations, chapter 1, verse 7. Behold, he cometh with clouds.
He coming for what?
With clouds.
He coming with Nimbus.
With clouds.
He coming with clouds.
Right.
This is Yahweh Shai. So he's coming back the same way he left. He's coming back with a cloud. Now, why is it so that an Israelite is going around riding clouds, but you got Saiyans going around and riding clouds? Like this is too much coincidence. Like I'm gonna need people to break this down. If we breaking it down wrong, I'm gonna need somebody to break it down right for me. Right? Read it again.
Verse 7. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him.
And every eye shall see him, and everybody gonna see the Messiah, and they gonna bow. I mean, and call him Lord of Lords and King of Kings. Right. And he gonna actually get his just reward for all this demonic nations that what they put him through. Right. And he gonna be justified and whipping their ass. Right. But Vegeta had a saying, right, called saying pride. Right. Get 2 Samuel real quick. I mean, he called it saying pride. Right. Why did he feel like he had saying pride? Matter of fact, get Deuteronomy 7 and 6. Like, why would he have saying pride? Like, you know what I mean, he had saying pride even though he was being oppressed by another people. This is amazing, because I know of people who had so-called pride when they was being oppressed by other people. They just said what? Black power, the black fist, black pride. Right? So read what you got, 7 and 6.
This is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 7 verse 6. For thou art an holy people.
For we are a holy people, come on.
Unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God has chosen thee.
The Most High God has chosen the blacks and Hispanics, come on.
To be a special people unto himself.
Come on.
Above all people
No, we the same.
Above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
No, we can hold hands. We all equals.
Above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
Come on.
The Lord thy God did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because ye were more in numbers.
Right, we was a small nation to begin with. Come on.
Than any people. For ye were the fewest of all people. Because the Lord loved you.
The Lord loved us, man. The Lord loved us. And it ain't nothing that these nations can do to stop the love that the Lord got for his people, man. Y'all can't stop it, man. Y'all can't stop the love that the Lord got for our people. And this is why we got pride. This is why we go around and boasting. Matter of fact, what you got? You got the apocrypha. Grab that apocrypha real quick. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2. Chapter 2. You see it? Chapter 2. bowls. That verse where it say that we make up the bowls. I'm about to look it up.
Say what?
He make up the boast that is our God. No, it's in two. It's in two. Man, I'm the one who see it. It's after 10. That he make up the boast.
Oh, I got it. 16.
All right, come read that real quick because the thing is that we people trying to understand, yeah, like why are we so bold? Why are we so confident or so? Why are we so amped that we are better than other people? Why? Because we got a different God, right? Y'all got stones, rocks. Y'all worship man, right? We worship the living power, right? Come on.
This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 16. We are esteemed of him as counterfeits.
Mm-hmm.
He abstaineth from our ways as from filthiness.
And they esteem of us as counterfeits. Why? But this is what the Jewish people say. He's not real. He ain't we the real Jews. He a counterfeit. Yeah, I mean when it's funny because they really a counterfeit. Come on.
He pronounced the end of the just to be blessed.
Right, and we pronounce the end of the just man to be upright and blessed. Come on.
And maketh his boast that God is his father.
And he do what?
And maketh his boast
That's
that
right.
God is his father.
And that's why we proud in these last days. We proud and we exceptionally glad because we know the end, right? Because it's been declared to us by the Father through His Word. It's been made manifest, right? 2 Samuel chapter 7. Because this is why we got proud, right? This is why the Lord is filling us with pride. Verse 23.
This is the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 7, verse 23. And what nation in the earth is like thy people?
And what one nation in this earth is like the blacks and Hispanics?
Right.
What one nation is like us?
God.
Right? Come on.
Even like Israel.
Even like Israel. No nation on this earth is like unto us. Like no nation on this earth is like unto us. Read it again.
And what nation on the earth is like thy people, even Israel?
And what one nation is like us? Nobody on this earth is like the blacks and Hispanics. This is why we got great pride, and this is why Vegeta had great pride, because he knew that even being in slavery, even when he was a kid, you seen him when he was a kid, and he was like, "Look, I'm gonna kill Freezer." I'm saying, like, I mean, one day I'm gonna kill him. You know what I'm saying? He not better than me, even though he had him and his dad in slavery, right? We got pride. Even though we know Big Mama had to, be his servant. We know our pops had to be his servant, and we know we are, right? But we know that we got pride because we know who we the son of. We're the son of the highest, and that he's coming back to redeem us, right? So, I mean, that's pretty much all I had. Anybody got?
Yeah, I was like, while you was going in for it, I just remembered something, because this is a pretty basic scripture that we bring out on the streets when we first meet Jake. When we go to Psalms 82 and 6, and we tell people that they are gods.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is the book of Psalms chapter 82, verse 6. I have said ye are gods, and all of you are the children of the Most High.
That's right.
Because when you think about it, when the saints are born, like, all these things that they could do, they're just built stronger, they last longer, they just be able to born, like, they can fly in space, things like that.
Right.
That's like really godly to people. Like, just being able to fly, you have super strength, you're super fast, your stamina's crazy. That's like being born as God. Like, that's as close to God as you can get in the body. So that's just another way that Saiyans and Israelites are alike, because black people were dominating anything physical, like boxing, athletes, track, running, all of that. And it's just in the scriptures, and that's just one thing they take away from us, because they take everything from us, really.
Pretty much the brother summed it up, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's what the Lord done put on our spirits to do. Like He put on our spirit to come and bring this truth out, and right. And we know some people going to accept it, some people going to reject it. But Most High will, hopefully, brothers and sisters got edified, and we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High God for delivering us out of darkness and to His marvelous light. And with that, we want to bid shalom.
Shalom.